What's good, Eagles fans? This is your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports Philly, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Appreciate you guys for locking in on the content. I appreciate you guys for being so committed to me, being so committed to this journey that we're on, being so committed to the Philadelphia Eagles this season because they have not made it easy. We have time and time again looked like a team that doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't know what they want to do. But last week we were able to get a victory over the Detroit Lions. And sure, a lot of people want to discount that victory because it was the Detroit Lions, and understandably so. The Detroit Lions aren't necessarily world beaters, right? So I can completely understand uh, other content creators, uh, mainstream media not wanting to give the Eagles credit for that win. But the bottom line is this: they managed to squeeze out the victory. And if we're being fully transparent, the most of those guys that are not trying to count that Eagles win against the Lions, they're the same guys who said we're going to lose the game. So to each his own. Everyone loves the flip flop. It is what it is. But we're in a new week, and we are week 9, I believe it is. Yes, week 9. We are in week 9, and we are facing off against the Los Angeles Chargers in the city of brotherly love. This is going to be a good matchup. This is going to be a tough matchup. I'm not going to act like it's going to be easy. I'm not going to pretend that we're just going to walk all over this team because that team, the Chargers, they have pride. And outside of just pride, they got talent. They got a superstar wide receiver in Keenan Allen. And I believe they got another star wide receiver in Mike Williams, who's having a great season thus far. They got a solid, very effective running back in Austin Eckler. And last but certainly not least, they have a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback in Justin Herbert, who's been having a pretty good season. But if we're being completely transparent, the Los Angeles Chargers haven't necessarily been playing their best football. They started off the season pretty well with a win in Washington. Then they lost to the Cowboys, a very close win, a very close loss. But nonetheless, they lost, and then they went on a three-game winning streak, beating the Chiefs, the Raiders, and then the Browns. Three high-quality victories. But then they also are now on a two-game losing streak, losing to the Baltimore Ravens 34-6, which is arguably their worst game of the season, and then losing to the Patriots 27-24. So is it fair to say that this team is starting to plateau? Are they regressing? I don't know. It's a fair question to ask yourself. But the Philadelphia Eagles still have a tall task ahead of them because the Los Angeles Chargers are still a threat to make it to the playoffs, and they're still a threat to upset our day, to upset our Sunday, most notably. So let's get to the people. We got my man Jinx Wolf. What's going on, my guy? How you feeling today? Jamal Matthews. You already know, my man. Messiah Armstrong. What's going on, family? I appreciate you for locking in. Eagle Slayer 95, my guy. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys for locking in and staying committed to the content. But yeah, in order for the Philadelphia Eagles to win, we have to sort of repeat what we did last week, and that is run the hell out of the ball. Now, there are going to be teams, there are going to be defenses that force you to do things you really don't want to do or do things you really didn't plan to do. So if the Eagles are smart, they should try to run this ball down the Los Angeles Chargers alleyway. They need to find a way to commit to the running game, and they can't allow themselves to get too cute. This is the part of the Philadelphia Eagles that I really don't like when we get too cute in very simplistic situations. Goal line situations, for example, we tend to try to get into the end zone by way of trickery instead of just having a north-south guy like Jordan Howard, who had a great game last week against the Lions. We need to keep things simple, and we can't overcomplicate relatively straightforward situations. Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon have been doing that habitually throughout this entire season. Most notably, Nick Sirianni. So again, there's so many things to talk about with this game, but let's just start off with the obvious. The Los Angeles Chargers have the worst rushing defense in the NFL. That is a fact. They are giving up or averaging 159 yards given up on the ground. We have to take advantage of that. There's no other way around that. We have to make it a point to attack their weaknesses, but we have to be calculated as well. We can't overdo it. We can't outplay ourselves. Jalen Hurts has to once again make the right passes at the right time when he's called upon. And there may be a moment where we have to we Jalen Hurts may have to win this game for us. I don't know. I believe that we have to keep this game low and slow, kind of like a nice steak, kind of like a roast, kind of like a crock pot, low and slow. We have to cook this game low and slow. We have to cook the Chargers low and slow. We can't try to go blow for blow with them. That's not our game right now. We don't really have the I don't want to say talent, but we're not as cohesive to get things like that done right now. We're not cohesive enough. We're not consistent enough to try to go blow for blow for these teams that are able to score 30 points, 40 points at will. The Chargers, again, a very talented team, but they are showing signs of weakness, and we have to take advantage of that. That's the main thing. Don't get beside ourselves, but most importantly, take advantage of what the defense is giving you. And if your running game is working, don't stop running the ball. Make them stop you. It's a relatively simple equation. If they're not stopping you, if you're averaging 4 yards or more on the ground, keep running the ball because three runs in a row of 4 yards or more, that's a first down each and every time. So you have to make it a point to get the running game involved early. Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, those guys have to get touches. More importantly, Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard has the ability to pound the Chargers into submission. We have to wear them down. We have to not only run north south, but we also have to tire out that defensive line. That's how we limit that pass rush by wearing them down with the running game. If we try to keep running the ball, I'm sorry. If we try to keep passing the ball like we were in those first several weeks, then the defensive pass rush, the opposing pass rush is going to be on point. They're going to be literally chopping at the bits. They're going to be running downhill all game, while your offensive line is going to be on their back foot all game, and that's how offensive linemen really get hurt sometimes. Always going in their back foot, trying to keep up with these pass rushers. Make your offensive line punish the opposing defensive line, straight like that. Shout out to my man Aaron Sharp for locking in on the content as well. He says, "Hey, what's good? We ready?" Hey, man, I feel that. I feel that because you cannot be ready for a game like this. That's the thing. It's important for this team to be ready for any and everything. And from what it appeared, this team is not satisfied with last week's victory. They think they can beat the Chargers, and I believe they can as well. They just have to play complementary football, and they also have to play for each other. The defense, let's transition to that for a little bit. The defense has to be just as aggressive as they were last week. If you think about last week, one of the more obvious things that we did besides blitz more was that we had a different linebacker combination out there. And that was the difference, in my opinion. We had Davion Taylor out there. We also had TJ Edwards, who had an amazing game, actually having a pretty good season thus far. He's played a key role in two of our victories of the season. You think about that Carolina game where he blocked the punt. You think about the Detroit game where he had multiple tackles for loss, setting the tone on defense, flying downhill. We have to look to TJ Edwards and Davion Taylor to set the tone in the linebacker room. Remind you, we did get rid of Eric Wilson, who actually was more so a liability rather than an asset. So we have to keep all those things in mind. And Jonathan Gannon has to continue to allow his defense to be who they are: aggressive, manhandlers, man eaters. We need Josh Sweat to give us another game like he gave us last week as well. Josh Sweat accumulated 2 sacks in the first quarter, I believe it was. 2 sacks in the first quarter. Milton Williams got his first career sack. Who else got a sack? Because we had 6. Joshua had a sack. Milton Williams had a sack. It's escaping me right now, but the bottom line is we need to be just as aggressive as we were last week. Otherwise, we're going to be on our back foot the entire game. I want to make sure I give these guys their credit. So Milton Williams had a sack. Josh Sweat had 2 sacks. Hassan Ridgeway had a sack. And Derek Barnett had a sack. And Teron Jackson had a sack, the rookie. So we got some guys who are able to get to the running back or the quarterback, excuse me. And Jonathan Gannon, he has to remain aggressive no matter what's going on. Don't be timid. Don't play that bend but don't break football. Get your defense off the field. Let your defense know we're going after these guys. The defenses can smell weakness from a mile away from their coach. If you're a bend but don't break coach, your defense mentally is going to be bend but don't break. They're going to constantly give up things. They're going to, in their mind, they're not going to think about getting off the field. They're going to think about, okay, we just can't let them score. No, get them off the field early. Don't even let them get a first down. You're able to take an offense's soul if you do that on a constant basis. If you pay attention to that film from that Detroit game, they were worn down on both sides of the ball. They were exhausted, and we were giving them everything that they can handle. We need to translate that energy into this Chargers game. Now, again, the Detroit Lions are much, much, much inferior to the Los Angeles Chargers. I want to make that very clear. But any beast can be slain. I don't care what size of the beast. I don't care the ferocity of the beast. Any beast can be slain. And the beast on the menu is the Los Angeles Chargers. So it's going to be important for guys like Derek Barnett, Josh Sweat, Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Milton Williams, Teron Jackson, Mari Tuipulotu. It's going to be important for those guys to be downhill. TJ Edwards, Davion Taylor, Sean Bradley, Alex Singleton. It's going to be important for those guys to be downhill. Let's talk about the DBs. The DBs need to be glued to their opponents. This is a big game for the DBs. This is a big game for Darius Slay in that DB room. Those guys have to come correct. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are having pretty good seasons, and those guys are extremely talented. And they are arguably 2 of the top 10, top 5 wide receiver tandems in this NFL. We have to give credit where credit is due. So Darius Slay is going to have his hands full dealing with Keenan Allen, and Steven Nelson is going to have his hands full dealing with Mike Williams. Now, let's talk about some injuries, you guys, because both teams are dealing with injuries, but the Chargers are more so than us. So, the Chargers right now, the Chargers are missing running back Justin Jackson. They're missing Asante Samuel Jr., their rookie corner, who's having a great season, a great rookie year. They're also missing Michael Davis, another one of their corners. They have a safety right now, Gilman, who's doubtful. And they have another corner in Tavon Campbell, who's questionable. So, look, Nick Sirianni, I understand that the Los Angeles Chargers are dealing with injuries in the DBs. They're short at corner. But those backup guys, those guys that are on the roster right now that's going to play today, those guys get paid too. So you can't go in there thinking that you're just going to attack these guys. You made a similar mistake when you went against the San Francisco 49ers, thinking you were just going to abuse the corners who were basically third and fourth string guys. They came out and had a great game and gave our wide receivers all they could handle. So it's going to be important for Nick Sirianni not to overcomplicate the game plan, continue to run the ball and keep those DBs, keep the corners on their toes, keep the linebackers on their toes. Because if they know you're going to pass it every single time, they can prepare for that. If you're running the ball, they're always trying to figure out what you're going to do. Are you going to run it? Is it going to be play action? Are you going to do an RPO? You have to give them combinations. You have to give them an uppercut. You got to give them a left hook. You got to give them a jab. You got to bob. You got to weave. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to get hit. But it's how you respond. Anybody can get touched. Anybody can get knocked down. But it's all about how you respond. And you can't respond You cannot respond based off pure emotion. You have to rely on instinct. You have to rely on rationale. Don't allow this game to get away from you. You're in the city. We haven't won at home not one time this season. We haven't won a home game. Let's keep that in mind, you guys. We have not won a home game. That is a problem for me. That is a problem. We can't get it done in our own stadium. Make it make sense. This city deserves a victory at home. We all deserve to go to work tomorrow on Monday with to feel good about our victory. If we beat the Chargers, this will be our highest quality of victory all season. Let's just call a spade a spade. Jinx Wolf says, "I want OBJ." Hey man, if you make sure you go watch my video I dropped about that, man. I kind of give you guys my opinion on that. Rock the Artist, my man. How you feeling, bro? Philly the podcast, my man. Appreciate you for checking in. Jamal Matthews, what's going on, my man? Yeah, right. Barnett, one of the guys that got a sack. That's right. But yeah, as far as the Eagles injuries go, we're missing JJ Arcega-Whiteside. So that's not the craziest loss, but you know, it is what it is. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, we are in a very unique situation because we are 3-5. We have a chance to right the ship if we go on a very dominant win streak. Let's think about our schedule that's coming up because it's friendly to us. Oh, it's so friendly to us. After the Chargers, we have the Broncos, who are showing signs of weakness. Then we have the Saints, who are missing Jameis Winston, and will be without Michael Thomas officially for the rest of the season. Then we have a slate of games that we should win, which is the New York Giants, then the New York Jets, then the Washington football team, the New York Giants again, then Washington again, and then we got the Cowboys at home, which is going to be a very tough game. Who knows? They may sit their starters depending on where they are from a seeding standpoint. But this is the easiest side of the schedule. This is the side of the schedule where the Eagles need to figure out what their goals are, who they want to be. This is the part of the schedule where you can actually salvage your season and you can really get a strong gauge for the quality of the season, what you got out of the season. We are officially in the mid part of the season, and we are 3-5. If the Philadelphia Eagles can find a way to end this season at 9-8, 10-7, then you can look back on this season and say, okay, we started off slow, but we got it together. We ended up beating the teams we were supposed to beat, and we began to establish an identity. And then at that point, you can build off of that. You guys tell me your opinion on that. Think about the rest of the schedule. Think about the way this season can play out if we play our cards right and if we continue to improve and rely on our running game to open the passing game up. What do you guys think the Eagles' record could potentially be to end the season, just based off of what we saw these past few weeks with our team, the way the schedule looks? What are your guys' expectations for the rest of the season, all things considered? Because in my humble opinion, I believe that based off the way the schedule looks, we can definitely go 9-8 at minimum. At minimum. I know we're 3-5. I know I'm asking a lot of this team, but the expectations will always be high, and I'm not going to curb them because this team is not living up to stature. I'm not going to curb my expectations because Nick Sirianni doesn't want to play complimentary or just play the basic fundamentals of football, and that's running the rock. I'm not going to curb my expectations because Jonathan Gannon doesn't want to put his guys in the best position to succeed because he doesn't trust his guys to be athletes and do what they get paid to do. I don't want to keep hearing excuses about the fact that, oh, we don't have the guys to do certain things. Put them out there, try it out, and if they keep getting burned, now we know. It is what it is. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. That's my mindset. I believe this team can arguably go 9-8, all things considered. The Giants suck. The Washington football team stinks. The Jets suck. The Broncos are showing signs of weakness. The Saints lost their starting quarterback. We can beat those guys. I don't trust Taysom Hill. So that's how I see it. Call me crazy. Call me crazy if you'd like. But I'm just trying to be as realistic as I can, especially if we try to incorporate the running game the way we did last week. We ran the ball 46 times. 46 times. We ran it 37 times with the running backs, 2 times with the wide receivers, and then no, I take that back. We ran the ball 7 times with Jalen Hurts. We ran the ball 2 times with the wide receivers. And then we ran the ball, I want to say 30, what is that? I can't do math today, y'all. I'm bugging. My math is terrible. Bottom line is, we ran the ball about 38 times, about 37, 38 times with the running backs. Which is great. I love it. We ran about 46 times total, though. 46 times total. So I don't see that happening again. But if it's in the cards, it's in the cards. If the Los Angeles Chargers are really giving it up like that, you got to take it. That's my whole thing. Like you can't discount the fact that through 8 games, they are literally allowing the most rushing yards all season. That's not by accident. That's not by happenstance. That's not by coincidence. We have guys in that running back room that can legitimately put guys on their asses. Think about that. I know Boston Scott is not the biggest guy, but he's strong. He runs hard. Jordan Howard, north-south, runs hard, was carrying guys. Kenny Gainwell, that scat back that you can line up as a wide receiver that can do multiple different things. He runs hard as well. We need to set the tone on the running game. We need to punch these guys in the mouth. Straight like that. You know? And then when Miles Sanders comes back, now we got an established running game. I don't understand why we weren't running the ball like this from the beginning. You got Jordan Howard sitting right there. That's my problem. He's sitting right there just waiting. And he and his body fresh. Ain't really been in no legit football action since last week. Oh, yeah. He ready to do it again. I don't see why Jordan Howard won't. Listen, I'll put it out there right now. Bold prediction number 1. Jordan Howard going over 100 yards for 2 more touchdowns. Let's put it out there right now. Jordan Howard, over 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Bold prediction number 1. That's how I'm carrying it. Boston Scott, 75 rushing yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. That's how I'm carrying it. Jalen Hurts, 1 rushing touchdown. Yeah. What's that, 28 points off just running the ball? I think we can do it. Ryan Rowe, what's going on? How you feeling, my guy? But yeah, that's my whole thing, man. Like the running game sets up everything. Everything. But let's talk about this, though. I want to kind of shift gears a little bit. I dropped a video, I want to say a few days ago, whatever may have you, discussing the Carson Wentz situation in Indianapolis. Now, a lot of people kind of jumped out the window and was like, hey, what you mean? Why would they bench him? He is balled out. You know what I'm saying? Now, look, I dropped that video right before the Colts-Jets matchup. That's when I dropped that video. And in that video, I discussed the notion of what if the Colts season is going downhill and downhill fast? And what if they see that they're not going to make the playoffs? And what if they also see that, wow, okay, there's a strong chance if Carson Wentz keeps playing, the Eagles are going to get that first-round pick. If we're out of the playoff race, if we can't catch the Tennessee Titans to get in, then why don't we sit Carson, preserve our first-round pick, And then look, we get you a weapon, Carson. That was my theory. And that was before the Jets game. Now look, they took it to the Jets. Their running game is legit. Legit. Taylor, legit. I want to give the Colts their respect. Carson Wentz balled that game. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people was like, why would you say that he balled out? But look, he wasn't balling out those past couple games. He had critical errors. Critical errors. So there's nothing wrong with poking the bear. There's nothing wrong with having that conversation about that first round pick that we may or may not get. So far, so good. We actually want Carson and those guys to do well, right? Because if those guys are doing terribly, what's stopping them from sitting Carson and preserving that first round pick? But since they're doing well, since they're starting to get back on track, Carson looks sharp, the running game looks sharp. And granted, it's the Jets. It's the Jets. But we want the Colts to be productive. We don't want them to be world beaters, but we want them to be productive. And like Jamal Matthews just said, he said with Henry out, the Titans can lose just enough games to keep the Colts in the division race. Exactly. The Colts can win the division if the Titans fall off a cliff. Do we trust Ryan Tannehill to really carry this Tennessee Titans team for the rest of the season? Do we? I don't think so. I personally, excuse me, sorry about that. I personally don't trust Ryan Tannehill to be able to carry that Tennessee Titans team to the promised land. Right now, they got the number 1 seed, but I think they're going to lose that one. I think that's a foregone conclusion. It's just a matter of time. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. I do not think they have a shot in the dark to win this division, especially if the Colts catch up. If the Colts catch up, oh yeah, it's going to be hell to pay. Because look, right now, like I said, right now the Titans are 6-2. The Las Vegas Raiders and the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills are right behind them at 5-2. So. And then you got the Cincinnati Bengals right there at 5-3. The Pittsburgh Steelers 4-3. That number 1 seed, yo, let's be honest, man. We got a whole half of the season left, and that AFC is so tight. The AFC is so tight right now. It's crazy. But yes. The AFC South is a two-team race right now. The Texans are already out of playoff contention, most likely. Jacksonville Jaguars, they're not going to turn it around. But Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts, listen, the Colts can catch them if the Titans fall off a cliff. That's a fact. The AFC West is pretty tight as well. Las Vegas Raiders at 5-2. Chargers at 4-3, Chiefs at 4-4, Broncos at 4-4. We don't know who's going to win that division. It's up in the air. The AFC North, Baltimore Ravens 5-2, Bengals 5-3, Steelers 4-3, Browns 4-4. Tight. They're all within the game of each other. We don't know who's going to win that division. The Buffalo Bills 5-2, the Patriots 4-4. It's a 2-team race. Can the Patriots catch up to the Bills? Can the Bills lose 2 games at some point and the Patriots go on a winning streak? It's very possible. Right now, the Patriots are on a 2-game winning streak. It's very possible. You think about the NFC now. Dallas Cowboys 6-1, Eagles 3-5. I don't see us catching them. They're just too hot right now. That's the reality. I think we're poised to get the 2nd position in the NFC East. I think that's just our reality right now. They're on the Cowboys are on a 6-game winning streak. Then you got in the NFC North, you got the Green Bay Packers who are 7-1. I think they got that division locked up as well. The Minnesota Vikings are 3-4, Bears are 3-5, Detroit Lions are 0-8. So I think Green Bay got that division locked up. They're on a 7-game winning streak. NFC South, that's very interesting as well. Tampa Bay is 6-2, New Orleans Saints 5-2, but they lost Jameis Winston, so who knows if they're going to be able to maintain. Then you got the Carolina Panthers at 4-4. I don't think the Carolina Panthers or the Atlanta Falcons are going to be able to catch either of those teams. That's just my humble opinion. So 2-team race again, NFC South. Then the NFC West. That's a really interesting division because the Arizona Cardinals 7-1, the Los Angeles Rams are 7-1. They are literally in the arms race. Arizona Cardinals coming off a loss against the Packers. Los Angeles Rams are on a 4-game winning streak, and the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks are 3-4 and 3-5 respectively. Those teams are not catching the Cardinals or the Rams. So this playoff picture is very, very interesting. Very interesting. Ivan Mem say, "Yo, Tone, what up, bro? Ready to get this win today? Let's go." You damn right. I'm ready to get this win, Ivan. I've been waiting for this game all week, my brother. I'm super excited. I really want Nick Sirianni to put this team in their best position. Keep running that ball, man. Make them stop you. Rocking my Hurts jersey and my Hurts season hat, feeling good today. I feel you, bro. I'm rocking the Hurts season hat. I'm rocking my Bleacher Report. Hurts long sleeve. I bought this when we drafted him. You know what I'm saying? Always supporting the guys. It's Hurts season for sure. But yeah, man, the Philadelphia Eagles. We have a tall task ahead of us today. Let's not pretend. Let's not pretend. But like I said, the Chargers, they're showing signs of being very, very, very human. Very human. So, I'm trying to think. Will Devontae Smith have a breakout game? Because I want to talk about this. Are we wasting or ruining Devontae Smith's rookie year? Does he fit on this team? I think that's a fair question to ask. I think it's a very fair question to ask because we are struggling getting the ball to our perimeter guys on a consistent basis. And then that goes back to Jalen Hurts' ability to put the ball where it needs to be at all times. It's imperative for Jalen Hurts to improve. I spoke about this earlier this week. Jalen Hurts right now has not really shown me signs that he can be the future of this organization. He has not shown me signs that he has necessarily improved from week one to now. He's been relatively inconsistent, but it's not entirely his fault because he's been asked to be the entire offense. The identity of this team's offense for the first several weeks has been Jalen Hurts. And that's not a good identity to have, especially a young quarterback who hasn't even played a full season of NFL level football in his career at all. I think it's important that you bring that guy along slowly and nurture him and give him a chance to actually be great and be better and learn. Some quarterbacks, you're able to throw them in the fire fast and they just respond. But Jalen Hurts, not saying that he shies away from the pressure or shies away from the adversity or the responsibility. But we have to acknowledge the fact that Jalen Hurts is not the most pure passer. He's not the most potent passer of the rock. He's just not. He's a playmaker. He gets a lot done with his legs. He gets a lot done, with his legs and his athleticism. And with that, that can only get you so far. In the NFL, you need to have that accuracy. You need to have that intuition, that anticipation to be able to get the rock where it needs to be. And Jalen Hurts hasn't necessarily had the anticipation required to be a franchise quarterback. I was watching that Bengals game, the Bengals versus Ravens game about 2 weeks ago, and I was so utterly amazed by Joe Burrow, his growth from last season to this season, especially with injury. He's playing confident football, and he's just been putting that ball where it needs to be at all times. And him with that Jamar Chase combination and T. Higgins and who else? I think his name is it Tyler Boyd. Nonetheless, they have a great wide receiver core. They got Mixon at the running back position. They have a solid, not great, but a solid O-line. That defense is playing fast, flying to the ball. Joe Burrow makes it look very effortless, makes it look very easy, has that ball on a string, and he throws the ball with anticipation, trusting and knowing his guys are going to be exactly where they need to be. And I think that's where Jalen Hurts is kind of failing at right now. Not having enough anticipation on his throws, not being completely accurate on the deep ball. Uh, not staying poised in the pocket as much as he could. Now, in that Lions game, there was a moment or a drop back, I believe it was a play action play, and he stood tall in that pocket and he had all the time in the world. And he delivered that ball, I believe it was to Quez Watkins. And that set us up for the touchdown. But Jalen Hurts has to continue to grow. I want to continue to watch him closely, and that's why I want this team to go on somewhat of a winning streak to end this season. That's why I want this team to take care of business where it needs, where it fits. Because if Jalen Hurts can beat up on the Giants, if Jalen Hurts can beat up on the Jets, if he can find a way to beat the Broncos, the Saints, Chargers, Washington football team, if he can find a way to beat those teams with this running game, oh yeah, then Jalen Hurts is back in a position of, okay, we see the growth, we see the upside, but right now we're not really seeing enough from Jalen Hurts to say, he can be our guy of the future. We just haven't seen it. Now here's the thing as well: if he's not the guy, if he ends up not being the guy that we need him to be, that's okay. That's the part that we need to understand, that we need to accept as Eagles fans, that we're nowhere near the promised land, that we're nowhere near where we want to be. Let's be completely transparent about our situation as a fan base, as an organization. We are not ready for a Super Bowl championship. We're just not built. We're not. We have a rookie head coach. We have a pseudo rookie in Jalen Hurts. We're still trying to establish an identity, and teams that win Super Bowls have identities. You can't win a Super Bowl trying to play outside of yourself every week. It doesn't happen that way. You have to establish an identity. You have to have win streaks. You have to play with dominance. You have to play with fervor. And this team hasn't really done that. So, like I said, if Jalen Hurts is not the guy for the future, that's okay, Eagles fans, because what he can be if he proves to be serviceable, if he proves to be slightly above average, slightly above par, then he can be that bridge quarterback until the person we want, the person that fits our situation, comes along. Look, this upcoming quarterback class in college, I'm not too impressed. I'm just not. But if we have an opportunity to go get a guy like Russell Wilson, if he wants out of Seattle, because I see that coming very shortly. If he wants out of Seattle, then I wouldn't mind going after Russell Wilson. But why would he go from one bad situation to the next? We have to make it a point to take advantage of the opportunity of having potentially 3 first-round picks, potentially 5 picks in the first 5 picks in the first 2 rounds alone. And we have to use those assets to establish talent on both sides of the ball. More importantly, on defense. We need some talent on defense. We need guys that are impact players, guys that make a difference when they're on the field. We also need to reinvigorate this offensive line because guys like Brandon Brooks keep getting hurt. You know what I mean? Jason Kelce, who knows how long he'll be in this NFL? He's going to retire probably by the end of this season or in the next season. Who knows? You think about Lane Johnson. Who knows how much he has left at this point in his career, all things considered. Isaac Samalu, who's been injury prone the past few years. And sure, we got guys like Jordan Mailata, who came off an injury, but is looking just as good as he was before. Then we have a guy in Andre Dillard. We don't know what we're going to do with him yet, but he seemed like he's making strides little by little. Needs to get a little sharper mentally. But other than that, he seemed like he's getting more comfortable, more confident. Then we got guys like Nate Herbig, Jack Driscoll, who have played quality snaps in this NFL, and I think those guys are very talented, and they can be solid starters. I'm not saying they're A+ offensive linemen, Jack Driscoll and Nate Herbig. I'm not saying they're A+, but they're definitely B level, in my opinion, B level offensive linemen. They are competent enough because your entire offensive line, everyone is not going to be A+. In my humble opinion, you need an A+ center, and you need an A+ left tackle, and then everybody else can be B level. And that's a great offensive line, in my humble opinion. Now, if your quarterback is left-handed, then you need an A-plus center and an A-plus right tackle. That changes things. But nonetheless, I believe in order to be a dominant offensive line, you need an A-plus center, an A-plus left tackle, and you need at minimum, B-level uh, guards and right tackle. That's my thing. But if you got A plus on both ends, that's even better. The bottom line is your offensive line needs to have a combination of veteran leadership, youth, and talent. And I believe that we need to inject some more of that in there. We do got Landon Dickerson who's coming along. He's getting quality snaps as well. But again, I think we need to, reinvigorate rather the offensive line. We need to draft linebackers. We need to draft some DBs. Darius Slay's only getting older. I don't know if Steven Nelson's going to be here next year. Brian McLeod, same thing. I don't trust Kavon Wallace, Anthony Harris. We don't know if he's going to be here next year as well. So we need to go after some DBs in this draft. And I think we need to juice up the D line as well. I like the way Milton Williams is developing. I like what we're getting from John Hargrave. I like that Teron Jackson is starting to become more comfortable and he's attacking. He's been doing pretty well in that pass rush. I also like what Josh Sweat's giving us. We need more, though. He needs to validate that contract. I believe Josh Sweat only has about 3 sacks on the season, 2 sacks on the season since he got the contract. So yeah, we need Josh Sweat to live up to his end of the bargain. But all that means nothing. Everything I said to you guys about what we need means nothing if Howie Roseman is making ill-advised decisions in the war room. That's going to be the problem. If Howie Roseman continues to make ill-advised decisions when it comes to our draft picks, this team will always be in purgatory. This team will always be middle of the pack. And there's nothing more annoying than being in the middle of the pack. There's nothing more annoying than being inconsistent. I'd rather be habitually terrible rather than inconsistent, because that messes with my emotions. At least I know that we're not good right now. The Philadelphia Eagles, we're not good right now. We're not the best team, but we've just been up and down. We've shown signs of hope, and then we just regress tremendously, as if we're on a week to week paycheck, as if we're week to week with this team. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something that we need to really look in the mirror and really think about. Like, can this team really be consistently good? When was the last time the Philadelphia Eagles were consistently good? And it always starts with the front office. It always starts with the front office, and it always ends with the front office. Because if we're not having guys out there that's able to spot talent, then what the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing? So we can get this season back on track if we beat the Chargers. See, sometimes all you need is that high quality victory. That sometimes all you need is that right win over the right opponent, and it changes the entire fabric of how you see this season. You feel what I'm saying, you guys? Sometimes you need that right win. You need everything needs. Sometimes you need that lightning in the bottle at that one moment, and then it sets, and then the dominoes start to fall into place. If we beat the Chargers today, if we can defeat the Chargers, that can set the tone for a pretty good winning streak. Then if we beat the Broncos, then you beat the Saints. Now you're like, okay, we can play some football games now. Now your confidence is through the roof. Now you're ready to go smack teams like the Giants. You're ready to go smack the Washington football team and the Jets. You feel what I'm saying? You're ready for that. You're confident. You have some solid victories. The Denver Broncos aren't light, but they're showing signs of being human. The Saints aren't light by any means, but they're showing signs of being human. The Chargers, far from light, but they're showing signs of fragility. They have their flaws, and their major flaw, is defending the run. And if we're going to win this game, Nick Sirianni has to commit to the running game no matter what the score is. Now, if we get down by double digits early, if we're down by 21 points before, at the halftime, then at that point, you got to let it fly. That's just the reality. You got to let it fly, because at that point now you're facing two enemies. You're facing the opponent. I take that back. You're facing three opponents. You're facing your opponent. You're facing the scorecard, and then you're facing the clock. So we can't put ourselves in that position. Phil Giesler, what's going on? He says we need to pressure Herbert. Big facts. If we don't make Herbert uncomfortable, if we don't put hands and feet on him, that young man is going to sling it, and he has that ball on the string. Ewing, what's going on? How you feeling, my guy? You ready for this game? Excuse me, you guys. So let's talk about my bold predictions for the game, because it's nothing fun, nothing more fun, nothing better than bold predictions, right? So one of my bold predictions, I believe I said Jordan Howard is going to have over 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. That's one of my bold predictions, because Jordan Howard has momentum. Jordan Howard is at that point right now where he wants more. He's like, feed me. And I respect that. We got to give Jordan Howard the ball more. I know I keep saying it, but it's crazy how Jordan Howard wasn't getting the rock at one point. God honestly blows my mind. It really does. Convert Truly, what's going on, family? How you doing? Appreciate you for locking in on the content. But yes, Jordan Howard, that's my first bold prediction. Jordan Howard over 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. And that's if we commit. We have to commit. Another bold prediction. Davion Taylor gets an interception. That's a bold prediction I have. Davion Taylor somehow, some way finds a way to get an interception on Justin Herbert. I know that's very unlikely, but Davion Taylor, he's a very athletic guy. You know, still a little raw when it comes to the technique of the game, but he's an athlete. He flies to the ball, and whenever he gets the opportunity, he tries to take it. So I'm expecting. So one of my bold predictions is Davion Taylor picking off Justin Herbert. Another bold prediction that I have for this game, and I'm gonna leave it. It's my last one. So the first one was Jordan Howard over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. My second bold prediction was Davion Taylor picks off Justin Herbert. My third bold prediction is Devontae Smith has over 150 yards receiving and a touchdown. No drops. He's been having a bad case of the drops these past few weeks, so he needs to tighten that up. I know he can do it. So yeah, yep. So those are my three bold predictions. Jordan Howard over 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Davion Taylor gets an interception off Justin Herbert. And my third one is Devontae Smith over 150 yards receiving, a touchdown, no drops. Ewing says we need to disguise coverages. I agree with you 180, 400%, if that's even possible. I agree with you more than you know. We need to test Justin Herbert's eyes. We need to see just how sharp he is. We need to put his mental processor to the test. We need to show him one thing and do another. We need to have linebackers on the line of scrimmage as if they're going to blitz and then have them drop back in coverage. We need to have guys. We need to have a spy in case. We need to have a D line, a defensive end, maybe, rush the passer and then drop back in coverage real quick as a spy. We need to show him different looks, different things. We need to send safeties that we need to have a safety in the box, blitzing them. You know what I mean? We need to show him we need to show him a bevy of things so he cannot get comfortable. And then once he begins to get touched, once he starts to get tenderized by that defensive line, oh yeah, then he's going to start to make mistakes. He's going to start forcing things. And then at that point, the ball is in our court and we have to make a decision on if we're going to win this game or not. Darius Crawford, what's going on? He says, "What's a good stat line you're looking for from some of the skill positions?" So I mentioned Jordan Howard and Devontae Smith. I said I want Devontae Smith to have over 100. My bold prediction, is Devontae Smith having over 150 yards receiving, a touchdown, and no drops. I heard John Hightower got elevated, so that's going to be interesting to see. Quez Watkins, for him, I would love to see him actually score a touchdown this season. That would be amazing. I want Quez Watkins to have over 80 yards receiving, a touchdown. You know what I mean? Dallas Goddard, can't forget him. I think Dallas Goddard is going to start getting most of the targets because Dallas Goddard, again, a tight end is always a young quarterback's best friend. And Dallas Goddard has been getting a large amount of targets since Zach Ertz left. And he's already starting to show his worth, slowly but surely. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited for what's to come. For Dallas Goddard, I can see Dallas Goddard having about 75 yards and a touchdown. I can see that happening. 75, 90 yards for a touchdown. I can see that. Oh, by the way, you can't forget that Tyree Jackson got elevated too. He coming off that back injury. I'm really excited to see what Tyree Jackson does. Jamal Matthews says, I see us forcing 2 key turnovers. Interesting. And who do you think is going to force the turnovers? Because one of them, I said Davion Taylor. I think Davion Taylor can force a turnover. I think that's very, very possible. Davion Taylor forcing a turnover. My other guy, I'll give it to, you know what? I'll give it to Avonte Maddox again. Avonte Maddox has been hot lately. He's been having a very, very good season, a season that hasn't really been talked about. I believe Davion Taylor and Avonte Maddox will force the 2 key turnovers. That's just a bold prediction, if you will. Convert Truly, what's going on? He says, I would like to see more TJ Edwards like last week. I agree with you 100%. TJ Edwards needs to get more snaps. Remind you, Convert, we literally got rid of Eric Wilson because we wanted to give guys like TJ Edwards, guys like Davion Taylor more snaps. Davion Taylor seems like he's starting to jump Sean Bradley in the depth chart. So I really think TJ Edwards is showing that he wants to be the starting linebacker. You think about Alex Singleton; he wasn't used he wasn't used extensively like he was previously in the season, playing 70% plus of the snaps. Now we got Alex Singleton playing about 40% of the snaps. Putting him in situational, putting him in various situations. Keeping the linebackers fresh. Jannard Avery as well had a very good game last week. Can't forget him. So it's going to be important for Jonathan Gannon to continue to use these linebackers in various packages and various combinations so we can properly attack the offense and also give them different looks so they don't know what's coming. We need to keep testing their eyes. We can't allow them to trust what they see. And that's the key to winning this game. Jamal Matthews says, hey, I was going to say Maddox. Bro, seriously, I think Maddox is having a very, very good season. Underrated, not being talked about much, but he's having a very, very good season in my humble opinion. Avonte Maddox forced a turnover last week, which led to the Darius Slay scoop and score. On top of that, he had a touchdown saving deflection against Robbie Anderson in that Carolina Panthers game. I just feel like Avonte Maddox has just been having a very good season as a corner. When they're not calling your name, that means you're having a great year. When they haven't been calling your name, unless you intercept the ball, if they haven't been calling your name, that means you're having a great season. So I'm really excited to see what Maddox continues to grow into. I think we should make it a point to bring back Avonte Maddox. I like him in that slot. Excuse me, you guys. Ivan Mims says our linebackers will play a big part today for this win. I agree, Ivan. Like every week, linebackers are key every single week. So that's the funny thing about this team. We haven't prioritized the linebacker position at any point for the past several years. Linebackers are key to winning football games. You know, they help out in the blitz, and they help out in the blitz, and they also help out in pass coverage. They're some of the more, or they're the guys who have to be some of the most versatile guys on the field. So it's important for you to have versatility in that linebacker room. It's important for you to have athletes, guys who are able to not only rush the passer but also drop back in coverage and have good vision of the field. Shout out to my man Phil Geisler with the $5 super chat. My brother, thank you so much for locking in on the content. Thank you for committing yourself to me, man. I'm truly humbled by this. He says, I think it will be a high-scoring game with both defenses struggling. Eagles win by a field goal, 36-33. Tone, what's your prediction? Very interesting. Very interesting. Again, shout out to Phil Geisler with the $5 super chat. Really appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it, man. Really appreciate you guys. But my score prediction, I don't know. I'm gonna give you guys that towards the end of the game. I mean, towards the end of the stream, because I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm still thinking about it, but I like where your head is at. I really like where your head is at with that, because we have a chance to win this game. I like that 36-33 scoreline, but I think it actually may be a little lower than that, Phil. I think it might be, if I had to take a wild guess right now, I'm not going to commit to this, but if I had to really guess, I'd probably say like 28, 24 Eagles. You know what I mean? Like 28, 24 Eagles, or 29, 27 Eagles, like around there. I'm always nervous about this, allowing this Eagles team, or thinking that this Eagles team is going to get above 30 points. We're not consistent. So, it all remains to be seen. But I really believe that I like that score, though. I'm not going to lie, Phil. I like that score a lot. You probably won me over with that, man. You probably won me over with that. Ewing says our best linebacker needs to shadow Eckler. I'm glad you brought him up. Austin Eckler has been doing very well for the Los Angeles Chargers. He's a versatile running back. He's a Kenny Gainwell type. He's able to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a strong runner, not a power back, but a strong runner, a very elusive guy. So it's going to be important for us to keep our eyes on Austin Eckler. We did a good job. Limiting Swift last week, the running back for the Detroit Lions. He leads all running backs, I believe, in receiving yards or reception, something like that. So we did a good job limiting him. But we have to pay very close attention to Austin Eckler, because Austin Eckler is a dangerous running back. He's not top 10 or anything, but he's dangerous. He's versatile, and he can definitely give you a run for your money. All right. So I mentioned earlier, what do you guys think the Eagles can, what do you guys think the Eagles record can potentially be by season end? Because like I said, there's a strong chance that we can win a lot of these games remaining if we play our style of football, whatever that style is. But really think about our schedule, you guys. Really consider it. Is there a chance that the Eagles team can actually go on a winning streak? Is it possible? Y'all tell me what y'all think. Is it possible? Let me pull this up so you guys can see this. Give me one moment. So, this is the remaining schedule. What do you guys think? Just really look at the schedule. Really look at it. Think about the opponent. Really try to be as rational as you possibly can. We have the Chargers today. Then we got the Broncos on the road. Then we got the Saints at home. Then we got Giants, Jets, Washington, Giants, Washington. I think it's possible. Now, Ewing just said something very important. He said if they had an identity, I could answer that. But that's very important. And that's the key. That's the key. Can the Philadelphia Eagles establish an identity? Can they maintain the identity they built from last week? Now, Rome wasn't built in a day, damn sure wasn't built in a week. But the Philadelphia Eagles can, if they are committed, win or lose, if they're committed, if they commit to the running game and allow that to open things up for them, then we can actually do some things. And this goes right into what Slow-Mo Ewing was saying. He says if the coaches coach, we can win out. You're right. They have to coach well. They can't get beside themselves and try to get too cute. Phil Geiser says 9-8. I think that's fair when you think about the fact that we got to play the Giants twice, the Washington football team twice, and the Jets. So think about this, right? If we beat the Giants two times, we beat Washington 2 times, that's 4 wins, and we beat the Jets, that's 5 wins. That's 8 wins on the season right there. And if we can squeeze out a victory against either the Chargers, Broncos, Saints, or Cowboys, if they sit their guys, then that's 9-8. So really think about it. If you don't think they can go 8-9 at minimum, that means that you don't think they can beat the Giants, you don't think they can beat the Jets, you don't think they can beat Washington. And that says a lot about this team. That's what I'm saying to you guys. If we can go 9-8, that means that we were able to beat one of these top 15, teams at least once. And then we took care of business against the teams who are worse than us. You dig what I'm saying? So it's all about the Philadelphia Eagles taking care of business where they need to take care of business. I'm not saying we're going to just run through the Chargers, Broncos, and Saints. I'm not saying that in any way. I need you guys to really understand what I'm saying to you guys. I don't think we can run through that's a gauntlet in and of itself. But I believe those if we can win, if we can win 2 out of the next 3, oh yeah, we're in good shape. I think in reality, we may win 1 out of the next 3. That includes the Chargers, Broncos, New Orleans game. The question is, will it be today? Or will it be the following weeks? I don't know. But if we can beat if we can beat the Giants, the Jets, and the Washington football team, whenever we play those guys, we can go 9-8, especially if we squeeze one out over one of these top 15 teams in the Chargers, Broncos, and Saints. I don't and then that last week playing Dallas, I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. It all depends on if they're really going to be having to compete for that number 1 seed. They might have to actually put out their starters. Eagle Slayer says 5-12. Wow. That means you only have them winning 2 more games. That means that you don't think that means you think they're going to most likely split between the Giants or the Washington football team, and they're going to lose to the Jets or any combination of those things. I don't know. I don't really think 5-12 is likely, but this team has surprised us before. Slow-Mo Ewing says we definitely have to maintain discipline. I'm glad you brought up discipline, Slow-Mo. Glad. Shout out to Slow-Mo for being in the chat. I really appreciate you. He says we definitely have to maintain discipline. Discipline is going to be huge. Without discipline, it doesn't matter how talented you are. You will always shoot yourself in the foot. Discipline gets you everywhere. Discipline can get you through any door on this planet. So the Philadelphia Eagles have to make it a point to remain disciplined and not allow the game to get away from them. And they need to just remain confident, to remain confident and trust what they're doing, believe in what they're doing. Eagle Slayer says it's possible for them to go 5-12. Yes, it's possible, but I don't think it's likely. That's where we veer off from each other. It's possible, but I don't think it's likely. But we all are reserved to have our own opinions. Jamal Matthews says, I had to see how the Eagles come out this game, then I'll predict the remaining schedule. Fair. I think that's fair. Hey, look, this is not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. The Chargers have a legit quarterback in Justin Herbert. And if Jalen Hurts can outduel Justin Herbert, hey, I'll take it. But I don't want Jalen Hurts to have all the pressure on his shoulders. We need to actually run the ball and dominate time of possession and accumulate more plays than the Los Angeles Chargers. We can't allow the Chargers to have 65 plus plays. We can't allow it to happen. We have to dominate time of possession. We have to maintain discipline. And we're actually getting better when it comes to penalties. I think in that Lions game, we only accumulated 2 penalties. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. We only had, let me double check, make sure I'm not tripping. Yep, in that Lions game, we had 2 penalties to their 8. So it's going to be interesting for the Philadelphia Eagles to dominate time of possession. They're going to have to remain disciplined and not accumulate penalties. They're actually starting to cut down the penalties. So that tells me they're responding to the coaching in that respect. They're responding to that. Yeah, Jamal Matthews, you brought up a very good point, man. You brought up a very good point. That discipline is extremely important. Jeremiah Butler, my man, what's going on? Thank you for locking in on the content, my brother. I ain't seen you in a while. Good to see you, man. I appreciate you for coming in. And you already know, bro. You've been had a wrench though. That's what I think. I could have sworn I gave you a wrench already, but hey, no problem. Take that. But yeah, I think anybody that just hopped in the chat, and also you guys, make sure I hit that like button. I almost forgot about that. Make sure I hit that like button. That really helps. Helps out a lot, actually. Helps the content grow. It really helps, man. Y'all really killing it with these likes. Y'all killing it. Y'all are killing it. Slow-mo says, just like everyone knew we were giving up major plays in the middle, we adjusted. Running the ball and short passes with a couple deep passes will take this. Bro, I agree. We got to just play our version of football, man. We got to just play the hand we're dealt. We have running backs who want to run hard. Give them the rock and take some pressure off of your young quarterback. Unless you don't want to take the pressure off, unless you're trying to help, unless you want him to fail. That's my whole thing with this whole situation. We have not truly, as an organization, really tried to make Jalen Hurts' job that much easier. Have we? Can you honestly say that the coaching staff has really tried to make Jalen Hurts' job easier before last week? I don't think so. I really don't think so. If we can run this route, because again, the Chargers have the worst rushing defense in the NFL. In the NFL. They have the worst rushing defense in the NFL. That's not by accident. Jeremiah, my guy. Jeremiah Butler came through with the $1.99 super chisel. And you take that. Appreciate that, man. Really appreciate y'all. Jeremiah Butler, man, you the man for that one, bro. Big time. He says, just got off Gate Stream. What's your ideal draft position for first round? Well, Ideal? Let me see. Because let me see. I mean, I think it's possible based off the way the Colts are playing. I don't think that pick that they gave us is going to be top 10. But so far that Miami pick is looking pretty good. That's looking like a top 3, top 2 pick right now. Let's look at it, you guys, while we got it here. Let's talk about it. So so this is the projected draft order right now. We have we got 15 people in the live stream, y'all. Thank y'all so much for liking in on this content. Y'all make it worthwhile. So let's look at this, you guys. We got Detroit right now, ranked 1. That Miami pick that we got is ranked 2nd. So that's really dope. We cannot screw that up. I pray to God Howie doesn't screw that up. That's going to scare me. Excuse me. And then our pick right now is looking like a top 10 pick. It looks like the Giants might have 2 top 10 picks too. That's interesting. And then this Colts pick right now is ranked at 14th. So if the Eagles turn the season around, then we may only be looking at 1 top 10 pick, and the rest in that 11 to 20 range. But if I'm being honest, I have a hard time trusting the Philadelphia Eagles with the top 5 pick. I have a real hard time trusting the Philadelphia Eagles with the top 5 pick. I really do. Jeremiah says, I think we need DN and linebacker or corner. If we get 3 first, I'll trade 1 back for a future first. Interesting. We definitely need to go after linebacker. We need the most talented linebacker in this draft. I don't care what they say about his character. I don't care what they say about none of that stuff. I don't care. Can he play football? Can he play? We need the best linebacker in the draft. It doesn't get any more obvious than that. It just doesn't. Man. But we're gonna get out of here soon, y'all. The games are about to start at 1 o'clock. We got about 4 minutes till till kickoff. Not for us. The Eagles play at 4 o'clock, but the rest of the NFL got about a few minutes before the game starts to kick off, man. I know a lot of y'all gonna be watching those games. I don't want to take up your time. I want y'all to really enjoy that. But man, Jeremiah, I really appreciate the $99 super chat. I also appreciate Phil Geyser with the $5 super chat, man. Like, you guys have really been showing mad love. I appreciate all you guys, man. I appreciate Jamal. He says, I think Miami plays Houston. If they can't beat Houston, I doubt they win more than 3 or 4 games this year. Facts. Because what's the Miami schedule? Let's look at that real quick. What's Miami's schedule right now for the rest of the season? The Miami Dolphins schedule is this. Let's see. Oh yeah, Miami season is over because Tua is out with a finger fracture. Let's talk about that, man. Tua's out with a finger fracture. He is injury prone as hell. Man, I do not think Tua is the guy at all. I do not. But yeah, so this is the Miami schedule, you guys. This is the Miami Dolphins schedule. So Miami, they got Houston today. Then they got Baltimore. Let me zoom in on that a little bit, make it a little bigger. All right, so there we go. So this is Miami's remaining schedule. They got Houston today. Then they got Baltimore, who they're going to lose. Like they can lose the rest of these games easily. They're not better than Baltimore. I actually don't think Miami's better than the Jets. They're not better than Carolina. They're not better than the Giants. Miami can honestly lose the rest of this game. Jeremiah says, who's behind Tua? Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett is going to be taking the snaps. Jeremiah says that number 14 is probably looking more like number 46 unless we get a ladder first, in my opinion. They'll sit Carson if they're that high up. I don't think so. Here's the thing, Jeremiah. The Colts are more worried about getting into the playoffs more so than that Carson Wentz pick. The Carson Wentz pick has contingencies, and that contingency is if they make the playoffs and he plays 75% of the snaps, we get the first rounder. If they don't make the playoffs and he plays 70% of the snaps, we get that first rounder. So there's two contingencies in place. So that's that. But the bottom line is this: if the Colts, if the main concern is really Carson Wentz's health. Can Carson Wentz stay healthy for the remainder of the season? That remains to be seen. But also, if the Colts are going to still be fighting for a playoff spot, which they are in the race for, because let's be honest, do we really trust Ryan Tannehill to bounce? Do we trust Ryan Tannehill to truly carry the Tennessee Titans after Derrick Henry went out for the rest of the season? I don't think so. I don't trust Ryan Tannehill to carry this team. I don't trust Ryan Tannehill to win the AFC South, but the Colts can catch them. If the Colts can, now look, the Titans have about like a 3-game lead or like a 3, yeah, I think they got like a 3-game lead, something like that. So if the Titans or if the Colts can somehow overtake the Titans, oh yeah, we get that first rounder. The thing is, we need to be rooting for Carson Wentz and the Colts to actually, be competitive. We don't need them to make the playoffs. We need them to be on the bubble. We need them to constantly be in the conversation, so they're forced to play Carson. They're not going to sit Carson if they're on the bubble just so we don't get that first round pick. You get what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. That's the thing we got to keep in. That's the thing we got to keep in mind. We need them to stay in the bubble, on the bubble, so they're forced to play Carson and not forced to think about their first round pick. Because if Carson Wentz stays healthy and they remain on the bubble in playoff contention, then we get that first round pick. Easy money. I know what I'm saying is number 14 means you've missed the playoffs. Okay, I get what you're saying. You talking about our pick. I got you now. Lucas Holman, what's going on, my man? How you feeling? Jamal Matthew says, best case scenario is the Colts stay in playoff contention until the very end. Yep, that is the very best case scenario, you guys. The very best case scenario. But yeah, before I get out of here, man, JB says, I hope they do because Tennessee is not what we thought, especially without Henry. Yeah, man, for sure. Big time. So here's my final thoughts on this game for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles face off against the Los Angeles Chargers in Lincoln Financial Field at 4:05 p.m. It's going to be so important for Jalen Hurts to make the necessary throws when it's time to make them. But it's going to be even more important for Nick Sirianni to actually run the ball with the guys he has. It's going to be so important for Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, and Kenny Gainwell to get off to a hot start because at the end of the day, the Los Angeles Chargers have the worst rushing defense in the NFL right now. That's not by happenstance. That's not a coincidence. And it's not by accident. We have to take advantage of where they're weak. I understand they're missing key guys on the boundary at corner, but we also have to take into consideration that you don't have to attack those corners right away. They're going to attack themselves. We have to open things up. Keep them guessing. Keep them on their heels. Don't allow them to settle in. Don't allow them to trust their eyes. The defense has to make it a point also to make Justin Herbert uncomfortable. Jonathan Gannon has to continue to be creative with the guys he has. He needs to continue to blitz whenever he gets the opportunity. He needs to continue to send out different linebacker combinations so Justin Herbert can't settle in on what he's seeing. We need to constantly mask and hide things with pure deception. We need to mislead those guys and make sure those guys don't know exactly what's going on. We need to have a lot of motion, a lot of pre-snap motion on both sides of the ball. It's going to be really important for us to really take advantage of what we're doing well right now. and that's running the ball. Again, I understand that was the Detroit Lions, but their rushing defense is not as bad as the Los Angeles Chargers, and we need to take advantage of it. If we can run the ball on the Detroit Lions, we can damn sure run the ball on the Los Angeles Chargers, and that's how I strongly feel about it. My score prediction for this game is 28-24 Eagles. That's how I'm carrying it, you guys. My bold predictions for the game are Jordan Howard accumulating over 100 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns. My second bold prediction of the game is Davion Taylor accumulating an interception, forcing Justin Herbert to throw an interception his way, an interception his way. And my third and final bold prediction is Devontae Smith having over 150 yards receiving, a touchdown with no drops. And like I said, my score prediction is 28-24 Eagles. And it's straight like that. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II, and you guys were locked in on this live stream from Chalk It Up Sports Philly, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry. And fly Eagles fly, and let's go Eagles. We out of here.